Like, I think it flows better, and then I'm just gonna fuck it up. Like, welcome to episode 10. Episode 10, we made it! Of the Nasty Labs podcast, part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. We're a podcast from game studio Chew High Labs, where we talk about games, game dev, Japan, and whatever else comes up. As always, we're your hosts, Kinsey and Mark, so open yourself up a Chew High, and let's go.
Kinsey, that has been a well-practiced intro.
Bam.
I'm really liking it now. Like it's getting longer, but it's also getting more dense and more there's more information to be had there. How are you, Kinsey?
I am fantastic. Glad to be on the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Now hold on. We're jumping over why you're fantastic. Why are you fantastic today?
Well, I had some iced coffee.
Okay.
As we were talking about before we started recording, that is the best thing in life.
Yes.
I did sell a decent amount of my games recently, so that's bittersweet, but still good.
Okay. Cool.
I went to a convention.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
They happen?
They are you ready for conventions? Did it feel right? Did it feel in your heart?
Yeah, it was good to be back. Like, it felt weird and like nothing changed all at the same time.
Great.
Like, because I haven't seen a bunch of these people since COVID started. And so it's all these people I used to see all the time. And it was kind of like no time has passed. Mm-hmm. But all of the guys had very long hair. Like, I feel like no man got a haircut during COVID.
That's pretty tight.
And like everyone was wearing masks. It wasn't super crowded. It was great.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty jealous. You're a veteran of trade shows, of game shows. Before this, how many game shows were you going to a year? Like dozens?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, probably. Because I mean, there's like the PAXs,
right?
And then there's all the retro shows. So it was not quite a convention a month, but almost.
A convention a month, roughly, and you would fly to half of these. Like, oh man. So at least you're back in a small way. You got to sell a whole bunch of games. What was the what was the one that you're gonna miss the most?
Oh, well, to this convention, because we didn't have a huge table, I didn't bring anything that was over $100.
Okay.
So it was all, I don't want to say cheap stuff, because under $100 is not cheap.
No.
But less expensive games.
Right.
And I sold my Little Nightmare statue, which I'll definitely miss, and a bunch of my complete imports, because moving to Japan, I'm not going to need any of I bought them there. I'm not going to bring them back. Like,
yeah.
And none of them are incredibly expensive. It was like a lot of complete Game Boy stuff and a lot of complete Nintendo 64 stuff. So a lot of that sold. I think I only came home with maybe 3 complete box games.
Oh, that's great. That's great news.
Yeah.
Before we get into the real juicy part of the show, I got to ask you, for listeners that aren't watching, you have a new set behind you. I know you just adjusted the camera, but it looks fantastic. Now there's a game behind you. There's a game behind you that I'm really curious about. It's called Last Resort. And is that the Papa Roach inspired video game? What is Last Resort? I don't know what that is. It's on the other side of you. The other, Last Resort. It looks like it's a VHS box. I don't know. Yeah. What is?
Yeah.
What
I don't know a ton about this title, but it's not a VHS. It is a Neo Geo MVS cartridge.
Oh, shit.
So they're all arcade games.
Oh, okay. You see, I didn't see Metal Slug there. I can't see all of the game titles. So now I'm sure that people that are watching could have been like, "Shut the fuck up, Mark. It's fucking
Neo Geo,
you jackass."
But they are huge,
right?
Compared to any other cartridge. Well, except for the Neo Geo AES, but whatever.
Right. And those go for hundreds of dollars, right? Hundreds.
Yeah, depending on the game, and sometimes not even depending on the game. Neo Geo collecting is ridiculous, and there was a time in my life where I was like, I really like the Neo Geo. We have an MVS, the arcade machine, and even the Neo Geo Pocket I freaking love. And I was like, I want to be a Neo Geo collector. And I looked on eBay like once and I'm like, I don't think this is for me.
Well, they look cool. I mean, they look like Betamax tapes, and
they do.
Like that one's called Last Resort, obviously inspired by Papa Roach's classic song Last Resort. I'm only saying that because I have no fucking idea what that game is. So, and I kind of want to know. I'm gonna find out after the podcast what Last Resort is.
It's gotta be like arcade beat 'em up thing. Oh, it's a shooter.
Oh, you looked it up right now. All right.
I did look it up.
I like that you have so many games that you don't know what your games are. I like that.
And it doesn't help that it's kind of me and my husband's combined collection, right. And we collect very differently. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of my friends think his stuff is a lot more interesting than my stuff. So, happens a lot where someone's like, "Oh my God, what's that?" I'm like, "I don't know, it's Tony's."
Oh, that's some bullshit. Well, what's going to happen?
How the hell are you?
Oh, no. I'm doing all right.
You keep skipping that.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid it. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Kyoto's really, really hot. It's really the rainy season's still going on. Not sure what that's about. Not a fan. That said, like I'm getting out there. I'm going I've been hiking a bit. I've been going to spots that since this is COVID, there's almost nobody anywhere. So it's kind of the opportunity to get the hell out and check stuff out, especially when it's raining and you have nothing to do. It's kind of there's literally nobody. So that's what I've been doing. That's it.
Awesome.
That's it. Kinsey, I'm going to ask you, what's going to happen in today's podcast?
Oh boy, do we have a lot lined up for episode 10. We made it. We're like a real podcast now.
Yay.
You guys stuck around. Like neither of us got fired. It's going so good.
Not yet.
So today, as always, we're starting with What Up, which is what we're playing. We got a sweet main topic today that definitely has to do with the tens. Also other numbers, but you'll see. And then, of course, the news, and then we'll answer your questions from Discord.
All right. Sounds great.
All right, it's time for What Up, where we talk about what we're playing. And Mark, are you playing a game this week?
I am playing a game. You're always trying to throw me under the bus every time because you know that I'm just gonna say I'm not playing, or I'm gonna blame working in the video games industry. I'm not playing a game. I'm playing 2 games right now. Thank you very much. Okay.
2.
Yeah. So we were doing some research. You and I were doing some research on I don't even know what, but we landed on a series of games, and one of them was called Totally Accurate Battlegrounds. Came out in 2017. Mm-hmm. It's a battle royale. I've never played a battle royale, and so it looked really silly. It's like a physics-based, it's super goofy. All of the guns are just like stupid things that a kid would dream up. The whole thing feels like a kid's fever dream, and it's probably like PUBG. I don't know anything about those games, to be honest. That said, I've been playing that kind of nonstop, and it's a fucking blast. It's so silly, and so imagine a low poly first person shooter PUBG like game, and super simple, except if you press the G button, all of a sudden your character starts beatboxing needlessly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just, and it's not even good beatboxing, it's just standard and that's all it is. It doesn't get better, it's just loops that one thing, and it's so much fun. And there's almost nobody on the servers because I guess I'm in Asia, and there's like 5 people per game, but it doesn't matter. It's still fun. And I feel like it's going to break me into playing battle royale games. I feel like maybe I will go back to play PUBG I don't know why I always had a blocker that it just didn't seem like it was the game for me, and now I'm like, oh, this is kind of a blast. And so I'm playing that, and last night, at your suggestion, I bought a game called Garden Story. It just came out for the Nintendo
yay!
Switch. Yeah, I got that last night. I've played about 2 hours of it. Garden Story. I don't really know what the genre is yet. You play a grape and your name is Concord. It's really cute. Everything is like a fruit or a vegetable, and it's a Zelda-like game. It's in pixel art game, Zelda-like. It has a lot of Secret of Mana references. I don't know the genre yet. I feel like it's a mashup of quite a few things, and I haven't read anything about it. I just got it because it looked pretty. Zelda-like, Mana-like. I think there's gardening. I don't know yet. It's still too early. It's still too early for me. I don't want to say I like it or I don't like it. It seems absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of the better pixel art games that I've seen in a long time. There's been a lot of great games coming out lately, so this was a really tough buy, to be honest, because I was up against. I looked at the indie world on Nintendo Switch, which now that's a category, which is great. And
that's awesome.
I clicked on that, and there was probably 7 games that I wanted to buy. It's like the best and worst time to be a game developer, because all the games are the best, and that's also the worst part that I don't know which one to get. I don't know which one is quite right for me. But I'm gonna keep playing it, and I'll give a report on the next call, like how I'm feeling about it. And I do like the music so far. It's gloriously animated. But I don't know enough about the game because the intro was pretty long, and that part was tough to get through because I'm an impatient person who wants to shoot and blast stuff. But it's held my attention so far, and I don't want to give an impartial review. I want to be have more information for you. So I am done. What are you playing?
And Garden Story looks so cute.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my list of one I need to try.
I think it's probably for you. I think so. Yeah.
Looks cute. And so what I'm playing, well, first of all, I'm playing 2 things as well.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is not pixel art and not cute. Well, I mean, it might be cute to somebody.
Mm.
So the last 2 weeks or so, I've been in the Back for Blood beta. So they had the closed beta first, and then it just went right into the open beta, and I was in both.
Yeah.
So I just kept playing. And so Back for Blood is by the same people that made Left 4 Dead.
Right.
And at one point they did make Evolve, but it wasn't quite what they wanted it to be as far as something like Left 4 Dead, because I love Left 4 Dead, specifically Left 4 Dead 2 because it has the melee weapons.
Huh?
But I have played so much Left 4 Dead. My husband and I still play it occasionally. And the campaigns in that game are just so fun. So when I heard about Back 4 Blood coming out, obviously I was like, oh, that looks awesome. And then when I got into the beta, it was even more awesome.
Okay.
It's very similar to Left 4 Dead. Obviously, different characters, different locations, different special zombies. And the zombies aren't as fast as they are in Left 4 Dead, which is fine, because if you've played Left 4 Dead, there's some fast zombies. But they'll still swarm you and everything just like Left 4 Dead. So I know there was a beta, so I can't fully judge it. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the only things that I saw as a negative are all incredibly fixable, which made me feel really good. Occasionally there would be some balancing issues where you would get a lot of the special creatures after you. And some of those special creatures, sometimes one is hard to, combat. So when you have 6, then it's pretty much just death at that point. And then, let's see. Oh, the AI character. So it was really fun when we played. It's 4-player co-op. Okay. It was really fun when we played 3 or 4-player, but when it was just 2 of us and we had 2 computer characters, the computer characters don't pick up items, which they do in Left 4 Dead. So, they'll pick up health packs and stuff, and then they'll heal you in Left 4 Dead. But they won't do that in this one. They just don't pick anything up, which is a little bit frustrating. And there was definitely one occasion where there was just one zombie, not even a special one, just a regular zombie, going to town on one of the computer characters. Mm-hmm. And he's like, da-da-da, like
Right.
barely shooting at it, and then he like was like, "No, I'm down. Come revive me." And I'm like, "You dumb shit! Like, you let that happen."
That does sound like something that will be fixed.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
So that's why any of those things, it doesn't really bother me because it's so easily fixed. And I know, like, a lot of the people I've told that I was in the beta, they, of course, asked me about the specials. Like, because in Left 4 Dead, there's, like, you know, the tank and the charger and the witch, which is one of my favorites just because of the atmosphere that she creates. But they're all pretty similar. Like, there's one that's basically the same thing as a boomer from Left 4 Dead, which is a guy who explodes and gets bile all over you. And then the bile makes it so you get all the aggro from all the zombies. There's, like, I don't know all their names, though. So, like, a lot of the time when I was playing, there's this one guy who's, like, a Spider-Man guy. Well, he can, like, jump and stick to walls and shit. And then he'll, like, spit webbing at you, and the webbing holds you to the ground. And we kept being like, oh, there's a Spider-Man! Because we didn't know all the real names of all these specials, so we kind of, like, made them all up. It was great. And the... The other thing I'm playing is, I think, probably the most opposite that it could be. And that I've actually talked about it on here before when I played the demo, but that is Dodgeball Academia. So it finally came out, the full release, and it's on Game Pass. So that's awesome. And I've been playing it so much. I love it. It's super charming. It's like a dodgeball RPG where you can still, like, you have your party, you can equip people, and, like, all the equipment has different stats, just like an RPG. And it's great. You even have, like, a meter, kind of like your, oh crap, what is it? What is it called? When you can, like, do your special attack, like like
a charge meter type
yeah.
thing?
Yeah, like a charge meter. I was trying to remember what it was called in Final Fantasy VII, and all of a sudden it was just gone.
Oh, right.
Limit break.
It's
called a limit break.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
So it does that. And so far the story's really cute. It's really well done. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, cool. So I have some questions. We jumped around a little bit, but in the Back for Back for Blood beta, like you said we a lot. Who are you playing with?
Oh, so I was playing with, I didn't mention this. It's cross-platform.
Okay.
So I was playing on my Xbox Series S. My husband was playing on the PC, and then my little brother was playing with us, and he was playing on his PS4 Pro. What?
That's pretty cool. Like 3 different platforms all together. That's pretty cool. So it's the 3 of you mostly, or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And
so we usually did get stuck with one computer character, but one's fine.
Yeah. It seems a lot more fun than 2. And so I actually don't know a lot about Left 4 Dead. I know. Let me be honest. I don't know what it even looks like. So this is a survival game, and it's it's co-op. Like, is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, it's a 4-player first-person shooter co-op.
Got it.
And so you can. The mode I prefer is the campaign mode, where you go through like a short kind of story campaign.
Right.
That takes maybe an hour.
Oh, okay.
So I like those. It does have a multiplayer as well.
And is it like Nazi zombies where you have to like build a base and survive against a horde of? Oh, nothing like that. Okay, cool. Okay.
Nope.
Sounds pretty good actually.
It's really fun.
Yeah. I had another question, and it's what the developers, you said that like they spun off, or these are people that were on Left 4 Dead but they quit, or is this literally the same team?
So Left 4 Dead is a Valve game.
Okay.
And hopefully I get this right.
Okay.
But so Left 4 Dead had their like second party studio, and that's what this one is.
Right.
That I'm completely blanking on the name. It's Turtle something.
Okay.
And then but they also had some people from Valve that helped out as well.
Okay, so this is
because
related.
They were working directly with Valve.
Okay.
But now Valve is gone out of the equation, and it's just the studio.
Right.
And I'm not sure if they got some people who left Valve and came to help with this or what. but it feels a lot like Left 4 Dead. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's mostly the same team.
I mean,
but it's the same studio.
It has the same kind of title. Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead. I mean, Back 4 Blood is a sick name too. It is a
it's really good
name. Like, it's way cool. Left 4 Dead. That's kind of like, oh, like I was Left 4 Dead, but I made it. But Back 4 Blood is like revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
there's pretty sweet.
Different MO on that one. I really like that title. I almost want to play the game for the title alone. Like, it hits me really well.
Yeah. It's really fun. And if you haven't tried Left 4 Dead, gotta play that at some point.
Okay. I will figure that out. You tell me which one to play or whatever, and I'll play it. All right?
Sweet.
Do you like the TV show Friends? Then check out Watching Friends with me, Mark.
And me, Ryan, every week as we go through every episode of this iconic TV show, giving you behind-the-scenes facts, our thoughts on every scene, and some personal stories.
Do you remember which actor can't remember many seasons of the show? How about the common household object that could never be seen on the show? We've got the answers and more as we explore Friends in depth every week.
Watching Friends, only on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
All right, and now for our weekly topic. And you know what? It's the 35th anniversary of Zelda this year, and it's our 10th episode. So why don't we smash those together and do a 10 Things I Zeldabout You top-selling Zelda games?
Top-selling Zelda games. 10 Things I Zeldabout You. I gotta say, Kinsey, that's a good name for it.
It's a real good name.
Yeah, I haven't watched 10 Things I Hate About You in a long time, but it's on one of my favorite movies of all time. Not because it's Heath Ledger. I love Heath Ledger. It's because it's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
It's a great movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's real young and he's unbalding. He's like handsome, and the great soundtrack. Anyway, so what is we have 10 of the top 10 selling games, Zelda selling games, whatever, of all time here. I want to just hop right into this and talk about each one of them just a hair, and like what our experiences were, and how we feel they hold up, and all that other kind of shit. So I think we should go right into it. What is the 10th top-selling game of all time?
The 10th top-selling Zelda game, top Zelding game, nope, didn't work, is Zelda 2 on the NES with 4.5 million copies.
Okay. I think we mentioned this in the last call, but Zelda 2 is the first NES game I ever played. And I still hate this game. I think it's a very clever game. I think it's clever, but like it's the only Zelda that I go back to it and I don't get it right away. And it's his sword, the side scrolling elements is so difficult, and I don't like it. I'm sorry, Zelda 2. What's your take on Zelda 2?
I don't love it. And I feel bad too, because I look at it and I'm like, 4.5 million copies.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming 4 million of those people thought they were tricked. Yeah. Because the first one's so good. But I do know a lot of people who really like Zelda 2, so you know what? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm missing something, but when it switches to side scrolling, I just feel like it takes me out of like Zelda mode, and it's just hard, and it's not as fun. Yeah,
I'm with you, and it doesn't make sense to me as well, like from a personal level, because I love platformers. That's my favorite genre of game, and I absolutely love games like Shovel Knight, and but these games came 30 years later. They learn from the technology, they learn from gameplay, but when I go back to that one, it just doesn't work for me. Yeah, I got nothing but not love for that game.
Sorry, Zelda 2.
Sorry, Zelda 2.
All right.
Yeah, hit it.
Number 9, The Phantom Hourglass on the Nintendo DS, 4.7 million copies.
Okay, go ahead.
I really liked Phantom Hourglass. And at first I wasn't sure I was going to like the the touch controls
Mm-hmm.
with the stylus. But I don't know. I just feel like it worked out really nicely. And I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did.
That's a short and sweet review. I'm gonna say that I think has the best touch controls of all time. I think it's for me it is a near perfect game, and I'm gonna say the word near because it has one core element that sucks ass, and that's having to go back to the same dungeon over and over and over. As you play the game and you go as you progress, it's a lot like Wind Waker. And you always have to return to like a home dungeon. And each time you return, and you can go to one level below. And I never liked that you had to repeat each of those levels that you had seen before. That said, I think it's a near perfect game. I think the controls are fantastic. I think it was the first DS game I bought. I think it was why I bought the DS. I love Phantom Hourglass. So that's mine. Majora.
Dang.
Oh shit.
Makes me feel like I got to replay it.
No, it's a good game, man. I like it. I like it a lot more than another game on this list that it was directly inspired by, Wind Waker. Yes. So, what is the next top selling?
Number 8 is Majora's Mask with 6.3 million copies. We jumped up like a whole million and a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to hop in and say I got this game too late. I got this game 6 years after it came out. And I think I was already done with, I think I had played too much of Ocarina and it didn't click with me. The mechanics of it didn't click with me. And I guess it's the same thing of my Phantom Hourglass complaint where having to redo the same thing. That part didn't click with me, but I did like the darker elements of it. What's your take on Majora's?
Yeah, I really want to like Majora's Mask. I know it is a ton of people's favorite Zelda, including my brother, who has told me so many times how wrong I am about my opinion.
Right.
But I love that it's darker. I love a lot of the characters. I mean, some of the characters in this are awesome. Tingle, hello. And legendary now. And the thing I don't like about Majora's Mask is I also do not like repeating stuff. And it's like the stupidest thing, but I cannot get over it. I do not like games that are timed. If I have like a timer in the corner, then I'm constantly all I can think about is that timer going down. And I know that you'll get the songs where like you can slow down time. So basically you're never going to run out of time.
Right.
But my brain cannot get past the fact that it's timed. And because when I play Zelda games, I look in like every nook and cranny. I try to explore, but I feel like I can't do it. So I feel like I'm constantly rushed, even though I'm not really.
Right.
But I have that like fake anxiety urgency that makes it really hard for me to play that game.
Yeah. I don't like timers either. I think they add... I guess that's the point of them, but they work too well. Like for me as well. Like whenever I see a timer, I'm focused on the timer, and I feel like, oh, I got to do that thing that they're forcing me to do, instead of I can go and enjoy doing that thing.
Yep, exactly.
Number 7.
Number 7. Wind Waker on the Nintendo GameCube. 6.71 million copies.
6.71. Do you have a Wind Waker anecdote? Do you have some love for it? Yeah.
I really, really liked Wind Waker. And it's funny because I didn't at first. When it came out, I was of the really cool teen opinion that the GameCube was for babies. And then when Zelda comes out and it looks like a cartoon, I was like, well, obviously that's baby Zelda. And it's not for my very sophisticated, like 17-year-old self or whatever. Because I'm horrible. But I did go back and play it when it was re-released on the Wii U. And I was like, Pass Kinsey, you're a fucking idiot. What's like, what the hell? This game's great. Like, I absolutely love that game so much. And even like the expressions that he has while he's Toon Link, like he has the best side eye, and I know in the Wii U they added the selfie option, and it was fantastic.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty positive review. I
Yeah.
don't think I ever gave this game a fair shake. I have an anecdote that when I was in university, my my roommates, the forced roommates that I don't know, they would roll the fattest blunts you've ever seen. I mean, like we're talking like 2 blunts stacked together of weed, and they would smoke weed all day and play Zelda all day. And this was so I didn't smoke weed at the time or now, and so that turned me off a little bit, but it was kind of fun to watch them play it. But I don't think I've ever given this game the fair shake because of I guess that same thing of Majora's Mask and Phantom Hourglass of repeating something, and you're always on the boat, and the boat, it takes a long time. That's my yeah. That said, I love Toon Link. I think Toon Link is way more interesting to me than fucking whiny ass Link.
Whiny ass Link. Well, excuse me, princess. God, that TV show.
No, I like that
So
shit.
bad.
All right, no, hold on. Don't fucking talk shit about that show. That was important to our childhood. All right. Like that was on the Friday episode, if I recall. I actually don't remember when the Zelda episode would be, but like, was it every other Friday or something like that when the show came out?
Something like that.
God.
But oh boy, that show.
That was my favorite part, man.
He was such a whiny baby.
He was a whiny little piece of shit.
All right, number 6.
Number 6.
Barely squeaked above Wind Waker,
Okay.
but the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, and that sold 6.73 million. Just barely more than Wind Waker.
Whew. Oh. I mean, this is Zelda. This is the one, right? This is the one that invented the whole damn thing. I love it, of course. As a kid, this was really tough because I would always get lost, and I would draw maps.
Oh yeah.
That said, I don't need to go back to it. I've played it enough. It doesn't bring me enough joy that I'm like, yeah, I need to replay this game again. But but I still love it. Kinsey.
I love this game. I've talked about it on the podcast before with my dad playing it a lot. And we weren't allowed to touch the NES until he beat it because he essentially bought the NES for himself. And I just have really fond memories. And I don't even know if I knew what I was doing because of how young I was. So I would always get lost. But you know what? It didn't matter. I loved this game. I did go back and beat it eventually when I was not 5. And it just, I don't know. Without this one, we wouldn't have the others. And actually, my husband goes back and plays this one like once every 2 years or so.
Oh, dang.
And there's even like the television version of this game where just everything is a little bit different and all in different places. And like he went back and played that one, and it was like experiencing the first one all over again.
Right.
I just feel like so many people have such good memories of this game.
Actually, you brought up a good point about the Satellaview. You're a hardcore collector. Has that one, has the Satellaview ROM, like a Satellaview cart, ever have you ever come across that? Have you ever like wanted to buy one of those? Is that on your list?
The Satellaview was like kind of like the Sega Channel where you could like download games from the phone lines.
Right.
Like it was sort of like that. So there really wasn't a physical cartridge. A lot of people have made not repros. It's not a reproduction of anything. There was no cart, but like I guess bootlegs of it. And it's always called the BS version of Zelda. If anyone wants to go looking for it, which stands for Broadcast Satellite.
Right.
Not the bullshit version of Zelda.
So, but I was just asking because like I've seen at a couple of our hard offs around, and there'll be a Satellaview, and then there'll be a cartridge, and then on there it says we don't know what ROMs are on here. And
Got it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And like when I see that, I'm like, that's a mystery. Is that a golden opportunity to get something that no one has, which it can't be possible. But like, has that ever like you're a hardcore collector. Do you need something like that? Do you need a Satellaview?
Maybe once I move. I don't have one now because, like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it this way. Be like, well, you can't use the service anymore. But how many things do I have that you can't use the service anymore? So that's a bad reason.
Right.
But that's right. Yeah, they had those like little, like a memory card
Right.
that you would download things onto. So
Okay.
that's cool. I wish we would have had that in the US.
Yeah. Next one.
Number 5.
Number 5.
A lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, which sold 7.43 million copies.
Hit it. Go for it. Tell me.
So, This is one of my favorite Zeldas. However, I was a Genesis kid growing up.
Right.
So I don't have like fond memories of the Super Nintendo. I mean, I do, but they're all like when I was in like I got my first Super Nintendo in college.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first time I had a Super Nintendo because I always had a Genesis. So I didn't play this one till way later.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think this one is absolutely genius. The Light World and the Dark World work. It's such a good mechanic. And the map is near perfect because they used it for Link Between Worlds as well.
Okay.
And it's just, the bosses are really good in it. They're all really imaginative and really led the way for a lot of the other bosses down the road. Zelda 1 did have some cool bosses like Goma and stuff, some of them that are still going strong today.
Right.
But I feel like the creativeness really started with Link to the Past.
Yeah, I mean, it is a perfect game to me. It is like there's I don't think there's any part that ever feels cheap. I don't think there's any part that's ever like harder than it has to be. Any part that you haven't learned the skill in order to achieve that that part. Yeah, I think it's the best Zelda. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think it is the best Zelda. Like, just so well rounded. As a kid, I didn't understand how to beat in the Light World when you're about to go into the Dark World. I didn't understand that you had to reflect back one of the boss's attacks by using your Master Sword.
Yeah.
Okay, like it seems easy enough. You just hit it back. Well, I didn't get that, so I used, and this is totally true, I used the butterfly or the net. I used the net, and also it can return the volley back to the boss because I guess they didn't think to not let it do that. And so I beat the boss. Every time I would beat it as a kid, I'd be like, well, I guess I have to use the net. Like, I love that game. I love that game so much.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a perfect game, and I probably beat it twice a year still. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that game.
Agreed. Next up. We're already jumping another few mil.
Oh,
but
shit.
Number 4 is Twilight Princess, which sold 9.6 million.
6. I bought this at launch. I don't love this game. Kinsey, go.
I also bought this at launch. I was at the store when it opened. I got my copy. I got my, like, because it was like right when the Wii came out. Was it a launch title for the Wii? Yes,
no,
maybe.
I don't think it.
No,
well, it was in the window, but I don't think it was a launch title.
Yeah, I remember I got the game right when the store opened. Went home and I was playing, and I played for 14 hours straight. I only got up to answer the door for the pizza guy and to go to the bathroom, and it was a near perfect day. It was funny because I would get, the few times I got stuck, I'd go online and other people were about at the same spot as me, kind of thing, since we all kind of got it the same day. And so we'd like figure it out together on like a forum, and then we'd continue like,
aw, that's kind of cute.
Like, wait, how do we do this? Because there weren't really, a lot of walkthroughs out yet because it had just come out. So that was really fun. When I was younger though, I really liked that like the puppy mode. I call it puppy mode. But when you turn into the wolf,
the puppy mode.
Puppy mode.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it, but I also think that this game suffered from it was the early days of motion controls.
Right.
Where they're not very, like, if there's no Wii Motion Plus, they're not very exact. And it's just a lot of waggling around and maybe beating stuff, maybe not. And I know that my, like when you're fighting, like, a boss or some, like, big creature that you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die and I'm flailing. That part of me really likes the waggling thing, because I'm like, shit! Right. I'm just like, I got it. But I do really like the darker timeline. Midna is fantastic because she's just as annoying as Navi, but more sassy. She's great.
Okay.
I love it.
Did you beat it?
Yes.
Okay.
Very long time ago.
And
I gotta replay it. I never replayed this one.
That was gonna be my next question. If you ever think you'd replay it,
I would love to see this one come out with button controls.
Yeah.
So, and not like the Skyward Sword button controls for that remake that just came out, because that has a dumb thing where it's not a button to swing your sword, it's you tip the control stick, and I just can't wrap my head around that.
Right, I see. Okay. So, it sounds like you had a good time. Now,
I liked it a lot.
I think we're about to get into the banger territory, the no one can disagree territory. What's next on number 3?
Number 3 is Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, and it also was re-released on the Switch. And it was also on the Game Boy Advance, and it had like the Link's Awakening DX, and it was all kinds of things. But it sold 10.2 million copies.
Link's Awakening. I think this is like golden territory. I almost find it hard to believe that it's outsold some of these other games, but by a huge amount. Link's Awakening. I definitely got the Switch version day of. I played it at played it at PAX 2019. I think Link's Awakening, the original one, is also near perfect. I think it's the best story of all of them because it's so condensed, it's so silly, it's so self-aware. I like that you could get to meet Will Wright of SimCity fame in the game needlessly. I like the fishing mechanics. I like that that as you're walking around in the village, the two boys throwing the ball to each other kind of acknowledge that the game exists. Like they say something, like, by pressing select, you'll have a good time, whatever that means, or something like that. There's this weird acknowledgement that, like, fourth wall breaking that doesn't happen in almost any of the other ones. And I love that there's the Chomp or whatever it's called from Mario 3. That's a dog.
Chain Chomp.
Chain Chomp, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I love this game. Kinsey, how do you like this game?
I agree on all those points because this game is adorable. It's so cutely self-aware in such an adorable way. I love it. But I also have a short story that goes along with this game because I got this game when it came out on my big fat chunky Game Boy and I loved it. And that was also when I got my first Game Shark.
Oh shit.
And yeah. And I played the hell out of this game, and then all of a sudden, I loaded up my game, and I was like, oh no, I think something's not working right. Like, I couldn't see Link.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally figured it out that I'm assuming, allegedly, my little brother, Game Sharked my game and made Link invisible, so I could only see Link if he was walking on sand.
What?
Because of the little feetsy prints.
That's pretty cool. And that saved over, that was like in the game somehow?
Yep.
Wow.
I could. And like, I was pretty young, so I imagine there was maybe a way to fix it.
Sure.
But I don't know. And I was really mad. And I did try to play it for a while. But imagine how difficult that is.
No.
Especially when you're not walking on sand.
Yeah. Yeah. Or bosses or knowing where you are. I mean.
Oh my gosh. And it was horrible. And so for the longest time, I'd never beaten this game because I got Game Shark.
Right.
I got sharked. And I actually didn't play it all the way through until the remake.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah. And the remake, I love it. Those graphics are so adorable. And I don't know how many times I've said cute or adorable in this, but Link is fucking cute.
Yeah, I think this is I think this is the pinnacle of cute Link. I think it's absolutely the most adorable, and I think it's the best soundtrack. I mean, I love the
it's good.
The reimagining of the soundtrack on the Switch is absolutely perfect. It feels like they use little kid toys or little kid instruments. A lot of the like xylophones and all sorts of just really earthy tones. And also it has platforming just like Zelda 2, but the platforming is simple and it's good, and there's like nothing to it. It's just it's in service of the game and not just there to make the game harder. And near perfect game. It's not perfect, but it's near perfect in every way. Number 2. What's number 2?
Speaking of a perfect game. Number 2 is the Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64, and it sold 13.2 million copies.
Okay. I don't want to take the wind out of your sails on this one. So I'm going to... I was a PlayStation kid. I had Final Fantasy VII. So I'm not going to... I don't want to speak on... You love this game. Go ahead.
I love this game.
Right.
And what is kind of funny about this game in my history of gaming is there was a point in my life when the 64 had just come out, and I don't know, I thought maybe I didn't want to play games anymore, and that maybe I was gonna be like a popular kid at school and
so much for that.
Show my horse, and so much for that. Obviously that worked out well. But there was a while where I just thought, you know what, maybe games aren't for me anymore, because a lot of my friends didn't play games and they were like not cool back then.
Yeah.
So, kids think stupid things.
Sure.
But at one point I got home from school and my little brother, who was really young at the time, he was playing Ocarina of Time, and he couldn't beat Queen Goma, who's the very first boss, but he was really young. And so I was like, okay, fine, dumb brother, I'll help you. And I helped him beat Queen Goma, and then we finished up the Kakariko Village area and walked out onto Hyrule Field.
Right.
And walking out onto Hyrule Field, and it does that big pan of everything. And in like 1996 or whatever, when it panned Hyrule Field, I was just like, oh my god, games can't get any better. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And I decided that I was going to keep playing video games at that point. And I think I definitely hijacked my brother's game since he started playing it. And I just beat it. It was great. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I even wrote fan fiction when I was little.
Oh, shit.
Ocarina of Time fan fiction.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I didn't grow up with it. I definitely could see how once you get to that field and you get to see the world all before you, that probably felt absolutely perfect. Probably the same feeling I would have gotten in Final Fantasy VII when you get to the world map. It is an amazing game. I just don't love it. It is an amazing game, and definitely I'm glad you played it. I'm glad you helped your little brother, because that's why you're here today, because you showed those cool kids. Those cool kids right now, they suck. All right, they all suck. Like, what are they doing? All right,
probably.
Yeah, you're making games. All right, you're gonna move to Japan. Fuck that shit. You won.
Hell yeah.
You won.
Thanks, Ocarina of Time.
And okay, so we all know what the number 1 is, but what is number 1, Kinsey Burke?
The number 1 best-selling Zelda of all time, as of right now, in the year 2021, is Breath of the Wild with 20.7 million copies.
No surprise, though. I mean, like that.
No.
Yeah, that thing you said about seeing the game all at once. This game does that for you, or did that for me, almost within the first 5 minutes. That feeling of, oh, games can't get better. This is it.
Yep.
Holy shit. Go ahead. Tell us your story. Go ahead.
I actually did have a very similar feeling with this game.
Yeah.
Like, after Link wakes up and you walk up to the top of the hill and you can kind of, like, see stuff, you know? It does a similar feeling to walking out into Hyrule Field in Ocarina. And you're just like, oh my god, this world is beautiful.
Right.
And I gotta say, the glider is probably the best game mechanic ever.
Yeah.
Do you know how often I've played other games after Breath of the Wild and been like, I could get there if I had a glider?
Right. Yeah. and
I love that thing.
And earlier you were just saying how, like in Majora's Mask, there's a timer, and the glider also has a timer, but it doesn't feel stressful. It feels like it's part of the game. Like, oh, I better save up my energy or whatever the fuck it is, agility or stamina.
Stamina.
Yeah. But what a fucking perfect game. I don't think we can say anything that hasn't been said. Maybe you can. I can't. It's perfect. Right? Yeah.
I really, really, really love the balance of puzzle and combat in this game. Like, the Divine Beasts, a lot of the levels didn't really have any combat. It was all puzzles.
Yeah.
And then same with all the shrines.
Right.
Some of them obviously did have combat or were feats of strength or whatever. But I don't know. It clicked all those right buttons. Wandering around the world, it a little bit Skyrim-ish, where you could walk around the corner and there's like a Bobakin camp, and you're like, oh sweet, I'm gonna go do that, and then you're completely derailed from what you were originally doing.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling because you can just get lost in such like a lush world like that. That world's amazing.
Yeah. I have never looked up. I don't think. I won't say that. I've tried to not look up anything, any solution or any map, and I think I had to look up something, but that's made the game so surprising. Like, you know, every time I go back to the game, I'll find something I didn't know about before, and it just blows my mind that they put in so much effort. And like a lot of people complain that the world is kind of empty, but like I would argue that the world is like jam-packed with amazing events. Like, it might feel sparse at times, but like, just wait 2 minutes. Just keep running. Something amazing is ahead of you. Like, it's a perfect game.
Agreed.
So, I mean, that's the 10 things I Zelda about you. I think we did it. It's our 10th episode. It's the 35th anniversary of Zelda. Dang. Let me ask you, of all of these, what's your favorite?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, you.
I was like, yeah, ask the listeners.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listeners, what's your favorite? That's cool. But Kinsey Burke.
I don't think it's any surprise to anybody, but favorite, Ocarina of Time, and Breath of the Wild is right up there with it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go Breath of the Wild, Link to the Past, I think.
Nice.
Special shout out to Phantom Hourglass. I think it's worth going back to that game. So hey, this is pretty fun. Let's do this more often, Kinsey Burke.
It's fun.
Yeah.
There are a lot of podcasts with comic book reviews and interviews with some of the greatest creators in the industry, but only one will tell you scientifically what the worst comic book of all time is.
And the best. We've been ranking comic book stories for 6 years.
We have a list with over 1,000 comics on it, and we're adding more every month.
More Rocket Ajax on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Next up, we got some news, and there are some good ones this week.
All right.
This first one, pretty excited about it. So, it was recently released on Twitter that the former Bethesda dev Nate Perkypile opened up about a number of issues with Skyrim's intro, which is that, you know, really iconic, oh, you're finally awake scene when you wake up in the back of that cart and you're like, what the hell is happening? So he did a Twitter thread all about the problems that the teams face with the cart suddenly losing control and sometimes just shooting up into the sky.
Okay.
Which I've heard of this, you know, kind of bugs happening a lot. But what the problem is like the best part of this story. And first of all, here's a really good quote from him. I had to put it in, which is, something was telling that cart to just fuck right off and get off the road. The thing is, it wasn't happening every time. Nobody knew what was going on at first.
Whoa. Cool.
And in the end, it was a true bug.
Okay.
The issue was there was a bee that would occasionally, like an insect, like living in the world, that would occasionally collide with the cart. And that bee was like the strongest bee on the planet.
They just didn't.
You don't get in that bee's way.
They didn't correct the collision, and because they didn't think about it, because the character would almost never collide with the bee. And oh man, that's so great.
Isn't that good? Moral of the story is game development is hard.
Yeah, that's really tight. I mean, that game is so massive, and I like that there are legendary bugs in that game. I mean, of course there's going to be a bee that flips over a cart. Of course.
Now I just want people to mod the game by putting that, like, the bee, like, collision, like, meter up to a bajillion. So you're running down the pathway, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa! And you're like thrown off into the side. Kind of like when you come across like one of the giants or something like that can just like toss your character at like, but you're like, what was that? You're like, oh, I must have hit a bee.
I love it.
Come on, modding community. Don't let me down.
Yeah, we need you. We need you now. Well,
I love that story.
Yeah. I think there's some other great news. Hit it. This one I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So this week's singular, this week, the Pokemon Presents Direct was this week. And they talked about, of course, updates for their already released games like Pokemon Cafe, Pokemon Unite, and Pokemon Go. They also announced more information about the newest remakes, which is Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, remaking Diamond and Pearl from the DS. Yeah. And these games, of course, feature the Sinnoh region, plus a ton of new stuff where you can customize your outfit, customize the Pokeball entrance effects, and there's also the new Grand Underground, which is an awesome giant maze underground where you can find rare Pokemon, and you can even make your own secret base where you can place statues that can actually affect what kind of Pokemon could be present in the underground, which is pretty sweet. But I think the biggest news that most people were like waiting for in this Pokemon Presents was we got a really good look and more information on Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is the action RPG prequel that's going back to you making the very first Pokedex in the region of Hisui, which is actually the Sinnoh region, but way in the past. Oh. And it's pretty sweet. And you're part of the Galaxy Expedition Team, a member of the Survey Corps, and your whole job is to help fill up the very first Pokedex and, you know, survey Pokemon and check out how they act. And what's really cool about this one too is it's like way before there is a lot of Pokemon human interaction because it is so long ago. So like some Pokemon might just like attack you on the spot, which is not something they've, you know, really ever done. Attacked you, the person, not like, I'm going to get in a battle in this tall grass. And I think that's really cool. It gives the world a lot more personality. And we also got to see some of the new Pokemon and the Hisui variants. My favorite is definitely the Hisui variant of Growlithe, because they're such a good boy, because Growlithe is like the fire dog. And he's so like bubbly and cute. And I know that he's supposed to look like one of the ancient, like kind of Chinese dragons that a lot of people put in like entrances to shrines and temples and stuff. I know he's supposed to look like one of those, but I 100% just see that like it's a Growlithe mixed with a Bidoof. Ooh. And I'm like, oh, you're a Bidoofy Growlithe. And you're so cute. And you look so dumb.
Okay, hold on. It's not a Bidoof. It's a Bidoof.
It's a Bidoof.
Okay.
Bidoof.
I always thought Bidoof was like the funniest name ever, but if it's Bidoof.
Please never stop saying Bidoof.
Yeah, look at that Bidoof.
I love it.
Okay.
But this is basically Breath of the Wild Pokemon. And it looks beautiful.
Okay. That sounds great. I want to and you could kill them for the first time. You can just like I don't have to collect them. I could kill them.
That I'm not super sure about. I know you can weaken them because some of them you want to catch and some of them you don't necessarily need to catch. And also the catching is all different now. It's all, third person, real time, which is awesome. But it sounds like some of them you don't have to weaken to catch anymore. Like if it's just like a wormhole or something, that would make sense. But I don't know if you can. I mean, in the other games, you can KO them and then you can't catch them anymore. But it would be kind of funny if you kill/KO this Pokemon who attacked you because they're a jerk. And then you're just scooping them up and putting them in the ball. And you're like, got him.
I'm waiting for a Pokemon Poacher. And I can finally go in and collect all their tusks or whatever I need from them. Because, frankly, I don't think we're exploiting them enough. I think we need to really find the nutrients that are in some they could be delicious. We don't know. It's not covered.
When I first heard about the Safari Zone in the older Pokemon games, that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, Safari Zone? Like people go on safari and do the big game hunting? That's the first thing I thought of.
Well, that's pretty cool. I haven't played a Zelda, or I haven't played a Pokemon game in so long, and maybe this is the one that I can finally get into because I don't have the patience for the RPG stuff. So maybe this is it. Maybe I can. Yeah. Cool.
The marketing's really, really smart on this too, because since they're remaking Diamond and Pearl, you can get familiar with the Sinnoh region before you travel back in time to play Pokemon Legends. It's the same region. And I'm like, oh, that's so smart.
All right. Yeah, that is pretty smart. That's pretty smart. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's the same technique they're doing with Breath of the Wild. It sounds like of having them in the in the same region. That way you can go back to the other game or go forward and get the next game. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Looks badass. Next up, we got Call Me Up, where we answer your questions from Discord. If you ever want to ask us a question that we can answer on the podcast, then go ahead, join up on our Discord. I mean, it's great already. We talk about so much cool shit on there, so you should join anyways. But go to the Call Me Up section, ask a question, and we'll answer it on the podcast.
Booyah. Great. I'm gonna read the first one because I don't have any answers on this one. So I'm just gonna read it. Groovy says, what are your favorite PS Vita games if you guys have one? He's thinking about getting one. What could you suggest for Groovy?
I feel like the Vita is that amazing handheld that completely got left behind because it's so great. The screen is excellent. A lot of the games I really enjoyed on that was, of course, Miramasa Rebirth is fantastic and absolutely beautiful. It's a Vanillaware game, so it's guaranteed to be beautiful. Actually, I really, really liked the Ys game, Memories of Celceta, I think is what it's called. And I'm not a huge Ys fan or anything. That's the first Ys game I've ever played was that one. And I could not get enough of it. I couldn't put it down. I loved that game so much. And there's a ton of limited run games that came out on Vita. They supported the Vita for a super long time, which is amazing. And I know that Vita games can be a little bit hard to come by. You'll go into a game store and there's all their shelves of games, and then their Vita shelf is 2 games.
Right.
But it's awesome. Child of Light is on there, also amazing. There's some really, really good titles on there. There's even an Uncharted game that is unique to the Vita, and that one's pretty good. Same with Katamari.
Damn.
Pretty sweet.
Great.
Yeah.
I didn't have an answer, so I'm just letting you take that one. Next question is from Juno. Do you know if there are any good Japanese board games that are restricted to the archipelago only? Have you ever considered publishing board games or virtual tabletop RPGs from Japan to the rest of the world? Kinsey?
So I did a tiny bit of research into this because I actually didn't have a good answer. I couldn't find a lot about board games that are made in Japan, besides, of course, like, you know, classic, like shogi and all of that kind of stuff. That's
Sure.
easy to find. But like a lot of the board games in Japan that are popular are actually ones that are translated to Japanese from English.
Right.
So a lot of the same games that are popular over here, if they have a translation, it'll probably be popular over there too. There's a sweet store called Yellow Submarine that sells a ton of board games. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I also don't know. I've been to Yellow Submarine a few times. It's kind of cool because some games they'll have the base game in English, and then there'll be like just like a Ziploc bag that goes with it of the translation, like that someone had kind of done on their own. You know, because not everything, not all the games can be translated because it's kind of expensive to localize everything.
Yeah.
That said, yes. To answer the second question, have you ever considered publishing board games from Japan to the rest of the world? Yes, we have considered that. We're actually we want to make a tabletop game at the office. A couple of our employees are big tabletop game players. I'm not one of them. I do play with them, but they are like die hard into some of these board games. And before COVID, we would sit around and play a game called Coup, probably for, you know, play Coup for hours and hours and hours and hate each other. And yeah, no, that's a big thing at our studio. So, and especially with our boss Giles, he's like, I think he said he had like a few hundred games. I don't know how many he has, but I know that he's really, really into tabletop stuff.
It's awesome.
I think the next question is a question that you need to read.
So Cal asks, how much ham is too much ham? And so I really like ham a lot, and they didn't know this, so it's hilarious that this question is here, because my friends have made fun of me. I got this like big old ham steak once in Vegas. It was at like a breakfast diner thing, and I didn't eat it all because it was like a giant ham steak. And first I was going to take it to go, and I asked the people, I was like, well, I don't really want a box because the box doesn't really like fit in my purse. Do you have like a Ziploc baggie or something? And they were like, no. And so they just gave me like some foil that I wrapped it up in. And then there's like an inside joke that I need like an insulated ham pouch to go in my purse because I had this like ham on my nightstand at the hotel in Vegas, and I like ate a little bit of it like all weekend, and all my friends were severely grossed out.
Yeah. Okay. Goodness me. There's a lot to parse from that. First, let's break down the phrase ham pouch. Let's never say that one again. Let's just go ahead and just not say that again. That is disgusting, Kinsey. And also, I just imagine you're sleeping in your bed, and like it's 4 a.m. and you like wake up and you're like, and you like reach over and on the table side is just sliced ham, and you like eat the ham, and then you like go back to sleep, and there's never enough ham.
Agreed.
Yeah, no,
there's no such thing as too much ham.
Yeah. Thanks, Cal. Great question.
Yeah.
That's the answer there. So from Steven, one of our mods on our Discord, he says, what's your favorite Dreamcast memory / story? Also, what Dreamcast should I play first after getting one? This seems like your territory.
So like the Super Nintendo, I didn't have a Dreamcast growing up. I got one when I got my first apartment when I lived by myself is when I got the Dreamcast. And I really wanted Samba de Amigo, and so I went out and I got Samba de Amigo, and I played that game so much. So I mean, if you like maracas, it's the game for you because that game is fantastic.
Okay. And
the remake on the Wii sucks monkey butt. So
all right,
play the original.
All right. Okay. All right. The first time I ever smoked weed, I was living in Germany, and my friend bought the game Toy Commander, which is a like a flight game where it's kind of like a army men, and you fly around like in kitchens, and you're like a toy, and but it's a 4-player deathmatch game. And the very first time I ever smoked weed, I was way too stoned, but like I thought, oh, the Dreamcast is the greatest thing. This is it. I never want to leave this moment. And but so I played the game recently because I was like, all right, does this game hold up? And it turns out Toy Commander is fantastic. And shit, the Dreamcast has every amazing game. It has Power Stone. It has oh shit, I can't remember. Third Strike.
It has Seaman.
It has Seaman. I mean, there's so like terrible
Leonard
name.
Nimoy.
A terrible name for a game. Yeah, no, the Dreamcast is amazing, and there was a point where probably you could get games for pennies. Like,
Yeah.
Ready to Rumble. Oh man, there's so many good games. I wish I wouldn't have sold my Dreamcast. It was a great console. All right, everybody, that's the episode. Kinsey, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought is maybe the 10th episode is the last one for me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, okay. All
But we
right.
had a hell of an episode.
Hell of an episode. Yeah, I did that on purpose just to be a little punk. As a reminder, we're Chew Eye Labs. You can get our game, Carve Snowboarding, on Oculus Quest. It actually, we have our first challenge out right now. Can you tell us about that?
Yep. Yeah, so our first challenge is live right now. It's only for this weekend, so if you listen to this podcast after the next 3 days, I'm sorry, but we will have another one. And yeah, it's our first challenge. This one is on freestyle on the First Course Valley.
Right.
So you can join up in the Scoreboards app on your Oculus Quest. And if you get the highest score, you get not only a sweet digital certificate made right at Chew Eye Labs,
Okay.
but you also get your name in the credits.
Name in the credits. That's pretty dope. I want my name
Yeah.
in the credits more. I want my name in all games credits. It's something about that seems really cool. So that's going on right now. We're going to keep doing these consistently in the future. So go ahead and get Carve Snowboarding on the Oculus Quest now so you can get that, or like fight for it anyway. Kinsey, close it out.
Definitely join us in 2 weeks for episode 11, and you can find me on the internet at Kinsilla, Kinszilla, on all the things. Mark, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Henry Demos. You can also find Chew Eye Labs on twitter.com/Chew Eye Labs and everywhere else at Chew Eye Labs. Be sure to hop over to our Discord to ask us questions for our Call Me Up section. And be sure to go to our website. Be sure to get Carve Snowboarding. And be sure to keep on listening, like and subscribe. Kinsey, do you have any final words for us?
So thank you everyone for listening. We made it 10 episodes. I can't believe it. Hopefully we're around for at least 10 more. And also big thanks to the Greenlit Podcast Network, because we're on there and there's some other great podcasts on there. Be sure to check them out. And thanks, guys.